North Korea has test-fired missiles from a new warship that it unveiled over the weekend. It's describing the 5,000-ton destroyer as a breakthrough in modernizing the country's naval forces. North Korean leader Kim Jong Un observed the missile firings and has said the ship would be deployed next year. Analysts believe the vessel's equipped with short-range tactical nuclear missiles and suspect it was built with Russian assistance. Meanwhile, South Korea's intelligence agency say around 600 North Korean troops have been killed fighting for Russia against Ukraine, and that's out of a deployment of 15,000. This week, North Korea confirmed for the first time that it had sent troops to help Russia fight Ukraine. In exchange, Pyongyang appears to have received technical assistance on spy satellites and drones. Let's explore this with Jenny Town. Jenny's a senior fellow at the Stimson Centre. That's a foreign affairs think tank. She's also director of their Korea programme and 38 North, which provides analysis of events in and around North Korea. Welcome to DW. Can we start with this warship, this Cho Hyun class destroyer, if I've pronounced it correctly? What do we know about it and how it fits into North Korea's maritime strategy?
So this is the newest, largest, most modern warship that North Korea has manufactured to date. It is part of a larger push to modernize the naval capabilities, bring greater credibility to them, and as part of the effort to try and diversify North Korea's defense capabilities. So, we've seen even on the ballistic missile side of the equation, multiple different launch platforms. We know they've been working on submarine-launched ballistic missiles over the years, and this is just another tool in that toolkit to make defenses of North Korean capabilities more difficult in the future. We know, for instance, they're also trying to work on a nuclear-powered submarine to be able to give them that kind of blue water fleet versus just the territorial waters, and really just trying to modernize and create greater credibility of their capabilities over time.
And warships aren't cheap, and North Korea is notoriously poor. So how are they paying for it?
Well, that's always the question of how are they creating income. We know that they've been incredibly successful in recent years in cyber crimes, crypto heists. They've now conducted some of the largest crypto heists in the world, bringing in billions of dollars that presumably the majority of it will go towards their WMD endeavors. And the reality is they've been working on these, on demonstrating these capabilities, building these new capabilities for several years now, but it's not a fleet. And it's still going to take a lot of time before they can actually create a fleet. Right now, we have one ship. I think there's questions about whether it does actually have a propulsion system, whether the propulsion system works, because it was really moved around with tugboats seen through satellite imagery this round. So, it also helps that, when you're in North Korea, labor and parts are not the same as procuring labor and parts in other parts of the world where it is a lot cheaper to do.
And so if we now turn to the presence of North Korean troops in Ukraine, long suspected and now confirmed, we have South Korean intelligence reporting around 600 deaths out of a contingent of 15,000. Is there any way of knowing how North Korean troops are finding this deployment?
Probably not a credible one. Obviously there's been a few prisoners of war that have been taken and interviewed, and there's been some discussion of what they were told versus what they ended up doing. But I think it's very clear that their performance over time has improved. And that means somewhere the training has improved, whether that's, Russian military officials in North Korea training troops before they go to Russia, or even just in the training that's done in the Russian units once they get there. They're definitely learning, they're adapting, and they are becoming more proficient over time.
And what's the North getting in exchange for sending its troops to die in a foreign field thousands of miles away?
Well, I think the number one thing is blood debt. This is really going to obligate Russia to North Korea into the long term at very high levels. And what we see is greater and greater military integration. Russia is not going to win the war or be able to continue, really fighting the war at a robust level without North Korean help. We do believe that there is cooperation going on in other parts of the military. We see a lot of upgrades of conventional capabilities. We've seen, there's been evidence of new aircraft, Russian aircraft going to North Korea. There's some evidence that there might be Russian help on, the new destroyer that was just released. Russia has said they'd be willing to help on satellite technologies. There's, Russian engineers that are likely working in the munitions factories and stuff to improve quality time. So there's a lot of things that North Korea can get on the military side that it has been able to get in years.
Thanks for guiding us through that so clearly, Jenny. Jenny Town from the Stimson Center. Thank you.
Thank you.